Chapter 6. A little while later, there was a knock on the door just before it swung open, and a middle-aged man stepped inside. He pulled off his hat, revealing short, salt-and-pepper hair. He said, "Hey, Pops, whose car is that out?" "Oh, sorry, I didn't know you had company." "Good morning, Michael," Joe said. "This is my new friend, Katie. We sort of ran into each other yesterday." Michael reached out his hand and said, "Pleased to meet you, Katie." "I'm sorry. I'm just not used to Joe having visitors." "You called him Pops." "Yeah, well, that is sort of an inside joke." "It's okay, Michael. She knows." "She knows? What exactly does she know?" "Everything. Everything. Are you crazy? You would risk your future for the first pretty face that comes along?" "Do you really think I'm pretty?" Katie asked. "Of course you're pretty, but that's not the point." "Michael, relax," Joe said. "I didn't tell her because she's pretty. I told her because there was an accident and things became obvious." "An accident? What kind of accident?" Katie spoke up and said, "Well, I sort of ran into him with my car during the snowstorm yesterday." "You hit him with your car? How did that happen? Are you all right, Pops?" "I will be. My leg is still a bit sore, but it will heal." "What the hell were you doing on the street in the middle of a snowstorm, Pops?" "I was checking my mailbox." "Our mailman doesn't come until the afternoon on Saturdays," Michael said. "You know that." "I know, but I forgot to check it on Friday." Michael looked at Katie and said, "I think he has developed memory problems in his old age." "Don't listen to him, Katie," Joe said. "I was forgetting things long before he was born." Katie laughed and said, "You two sound like my parents." "I hope that's a good thing," Joe said. "It is a good thing," Katie said. "Don't worry about working today, Pops. It's slow because of the storm, and you need rest." "Katie has a reservation at the resort. Perhaps you can help get her settled in," Joe said. "Oh, you must be Katie Knight. We assumed you didn't come because of the weather." "That would be me, and, in a way, the weather was to blame." "Did your partner not come along?" Michael asked. "No, it's just me," Katie said. "Okay, Katie, grab your things, and I will get you settled into your room. If it's okay with both of you, I'd like to stay here with Joe. I feel responsible for his well-being and want to help him until he is better." Michael looked at Joe and smiled. "What do you think, Pops? Can you handle being doted over by a pretty lady for another day?" "I will persevere," Joe said. Michael looked at Katie and quietly said, "Joe is a good man. Please don't hurt him." He then walked out the door. "Partner?" Joe asked. "I recently broke up with my boyfriend." "I'm sorry to hear that." "Thanks, but it was for the best," Katie said. "So tell me, how is Michael related to you? Is he your grandson?" "Yes, he's my grandson." "How many children do you have?" "I had 3 children with my wife, Marie, 2 boys and a girl. Michael is my daughter's son. Both my boys are gone, but my daughter is still with me. She lives not far from here. Perhaps you will meet her." "What about grandchildren?" "Let's see. I have 3 grandsons, 2 granddaughters, 7 great-grandchildren, 2 great-great-grandchildren, and 1 on the way. Everyone has followed their own path, and only my daughter, her eldest son, and his son live here in Wisconsin." "Let's talk about you, Katie Knight." "Is that your real name?" Joe asked. "My real name is Catherine Kowalczyk, not exactly a good news anchor name." "Didn't you tell me that you are not a news anchor?" "Don't rub it in," Katie said. "I'm just saying that you have a nice Polish name. There is nothing wrong with it. In the old days, celebrities were much more concerned that their names sounded simple and American, but there are no genuine American names except for Native Americans. All the others originated somewhere else. Besides, nobody cares what your last name is these days." "You have a point, but I don't know. Besides, I'm only half Polish. Coincidentally, my mother's side has some Croatian in it too." "Really? So, we could be related." "Everybody's related if you go back far enough." "So, how far back do you have to go to get to your Croatian ancestors?" "I'm not sure," Katie said. "Let me think. My mother's father's mother came to America shortly after the war ended. I think it was 1919. I remember she was 3 at the time, and she came with only her mother." "Holy crap, Joe. Not only was she born the same year as you, but she also came to America almost the same way you did." "Do you know what part of the country she came from?" "No, I'm afraid not," Katie said. "She died when I was around 12. I was never concerned with my family history at that age. I do remember her telling me that her mother spoke 4 languages. I remember one of those languages was Hungarian. Perhaps she was born near that country. That is very interesting, Katie. If you want to practice being an investigative reporter, you can do research on your own family's history. That's a good idea, Joe. I think I'll do that. Hey, if you would like to help me, I'll make you breakfast. I would love breakfast. What can I do to help? Joe pointed to the closet and said, "There's a tripod inside the closet at the bottom left. Get that for me, please." Katie opened the closet, removed a tripod from the corner, and handed it to Joe. "Are you still into photography?" she asked. "Yes. I used to be a professional photographer. I love landscape and wildlife photography the most. One of the reasons I love living here is because there are a lot of photo opportunities nearby. I have many investments, and I don't need to work, but I still make a little extra money selling my photographs, and I really enjoy it." "That's great, Joe, and I would love to see your photos, but how does this help you make breakfast?" "I'll show you," he said as he extended the legs part way and locked them in place. He then stood up and used the tripod as a cane as he hobbled into the kitchen. "That's pretty ingenious," Katie said. "When you've lived as long as I have, you learn to work with what you have." A pan was already on the stove, and Joe turned on the flame. He then removed a package of bacon from the refrigerator and added several pieces to the pan. He found another pan and cracked a few eggs into it before adding a little cream and some salt and pepper. He stirred that up and then flipped over the bacon. Katie, wanting to help, looked through the cabinets and pulled out a couple of plates and a couple of forks. She found the bread and added a couple of slices to his toaster. When the toast was done, she buttered the pieces and added them to the plates seconds before Joe added the bacon and eggs. "We make a good team," Joe said, as Katie carried the plates to the small table. "Oh, I almost forgot. There's orange juice in the fridge. Sorry, but I don't drink coffee." "Orange juice is fine," Katie said. She removed it from the refrigerator and poured it into 2 glasses that she found in the same cabinet as the plates. After they sat down to eat, Katie said, "Tell me, Joe, what is your real name?" "Well, I was adopted at a very young age and grew up with what some would consider the very American name of Joseph Young. What you would call my real name is the one my mother gave me before she died. That is Josip Novak. That is the name I use today. As you can imagine, I have needed to change my identity a few times during my life. I couldn't very well be celebrating my 80th birthday, or 100th for that matter, looking like this. I can imagine that would be a problem." Katie said, "Why did you go back to your original name? Might that not become an issue for you?" "I wanted to honor my parents," Joe said. "Josip was also my father's name. I didn't think it would be an issue because Josip Novak only existed on paper in 1916. I went to school as Joseph Young. How do you know what name your mother chose for you if she died when you were born?" Katie asked. "I'll show you," Joe said, getting up from the table and limping across the room. He opened the bottom drawer of his nightstand, pulled out a scrapbook, and returned to the kitchen table. He opened it to the first page and handed it to Katie. Katie opened the book and saw many pages of plastic protective sleeves with various pieces of memorabilia. The first page had an old yellowed note written in another language. "Did your mother write this?" she asked. "Yes, it asks that I be looked after, and it specifies the names she wanted if I was a boy or a girl, as well as why she picked those names. She says Josip was my father's name. Do you speak the Croatian language?" "No, I never had a need to learn it. My mother told me what the letter said in a nutshell, and later I found someone who translated it word for me. The translation is on the next page." Katie flipped the page and saw another letter on yellowed paper. This one was written in English. Katie read the letter and said, "It seems your real mother loved you before she even met you." "Yes, I believe she did. I only wish she would have lived long enough to get to know me." Katie reached over and squeezed Joe's hand. "I'm sure she's looking down and smiling at you. When did you learn that you were adopted?" "I don't know, exactly. My parents never tried to hide the truth from me. I think I understood what it meant to be adopted at around 6 or 7 years old." "Were your adoptive parents good to you?" Yes, both of my parents loved me. They didn't treat me any differently than their other kids. I was lucky, Joe said. Do you still want to help me learn where I came from? Of course, I would love to help, Katie said. You can start by taking a picture of that letter. Maybe you can find out something from it. Katie grabbed her phone and took a picture of the letter. She then started flipping through the book before Joe reached over and took it from her. There's nothing else in there that would help you, he said before returning the book to the drawer where he got it. When he returned to the kitchen, Katie said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be nosy. You're a reporter. It's in your nature to be nosy. You have nothing to be sorry for. I'm just not ready to share my whole life yet. When they finished breakfast, Katie offered to clean the kitchen. When she finished, they both sat down on the sofa. I'm sorry I don't have a television, Joe said. Don't be sorry, Katie said. I came here to get away from television, among other things. I was thinking, Joe said. How are you going to drive home with a broken windshield? Shit, I forgot all about that, Katie said as she got up and went outside to look at it. She brushed the snow away and saw a large spiderweb-like crack in the center of the glass. Joe got up and stood at the door and watched while Katie examined the window. She looked back at Joe and said, I can't drive it like this. I will surely get a ticket if I try. I guess we'll be going to the resort after all, Joe said. You can use the phone there. Come back inside and pack your stuff. Katie returned to the cabin and said, I hate to leave you, Joe. I wanted to help you as long as I could. You're not leaving me. I'm going with you. Someone needs to show you the way. Your GPS is obviously not up to the task. Thank you, Joe, Katie said before packing what she took from her suitcase. She zipped it up, put on her coat, and pulled the suitcase out the door with Joe following behind. Katie opened the trunk, and Joe picked up her suitcase and put it inside. She noticed he wasn't using his tripod as a cane and said, Where's your tripod? My leg is feeling a bit better, and I didn't feel like dragging that thing along, Joe said. Katie looked at him, shook her head, and said, Your secret is safe with me, Joe, because if I told anyone, people would think I was crazy. Maybe you are, Joe said as he got into the passenger seat. Katie got in, buckled up, and said with a smile, If I was sane, would I still be here? I would guess not, Joe said. Katie backed up until she reached the end of the driveway, stopped, and asked, Which way do I go? Go left, the way you came from, and then turn right on the first street you come to. Katie followed his directions and drove slowly because her visibility was limited. There were also several inches of snow on the road, which made driving even more difficult. When she reached the main road, she said, This was the road I was on, and that damn GPS made me turn. Sometimes technology is not our friend, Joe said. They drove for less than a quarter mile when the Three Eagles ski resort entrance came up. I can't believe how close this is. I could have walked here, Katie said. In a snowstorm? Joe asked. Well, maybe not, Katie admitted. She parked the car and followed Joe inside. Michael was behind the desk, as well as a young man who looked to be around Joe's age, or his apparent age anyway. Pops, Michael said. I thought you were going to stay home and rest. I'm feeling better, and Katie needs to use the phone, so I figured she should use her room. Of course, Michael said, and found the correct key and handed it to her. It's room 109. Can you show her where it is, Pops? Right this way, my dear, Joe said. As they started to leave, the young man had just finished with a guest, looked up and said, Joe, I thought you weren't coming in today. It's okay, Eric. She knows. This is Katie. Katie, this is my great-grandson, Eric. The two of them shook hands, and Joe said, How's Rachel doing? Okay, I guess, he said. You know, being 8 months pregnant is hard. She can never get comfortable. Women definitely get the hard part when it comes to having children. Joe said, The only thing you can do is be there when she needs you, and don't take it personally when she yells at you. I'll keep that in mind, Grandpa. Katie's room was beautiful. There was an old-fashioned 4-post king-size bed in the middle of the room, with a sofa and a couple of chairs on either side of a sliding glass door that overlooked the ski slopes. There was a sitting area outside, but it was too cold for sitting outside. Katie assumed it was mostly for smokers or crazy people who liked the cold. Do you like your room? Joe asked. I love it, Katie said. I only wish I had more time to enjoy it. There is a phone next to the bed. Call about your windshield and whoever else you need to talk to. I'll be at the front desk if you need me. I'm curious, Joe. Why is this place called Three Eagles Ski Resort? Because it's a ski resort, Joe said, laughing. Katie shook her head and said, You're a funny guy, Joe, but really, why three eagles? A long time ago, before I was born, a female bald eagle had a nest at the top of the hill. She had two male companions who both helped her raise her two eaglets. Those three eagles returned 3 years in a row to the same nest to raise new eaglets. That's quite a story. Is it true? People around here think so, Joe said. I'll leave you alone so you can make your phone calls. Thank you so much, Joe. Katie called her insurance company and reported that a large bird hit her car. She felt bad about lying, but she couldn't tell them she hit a man who was fine now, especially one who did not want attention. The insurance company got her in touch with a glass company that could not get out to her until 2 o'clock the next day. She then called her boss, told him the situation, and said she would probably not be able to make it back in time for work on Monday. He wasn't happy about it, but if she was being honest with herself, she didn't care too much. Next, she called her mother. She told her a half-truth. She said she hit a man with her car and has been helping him recover, but she implied his injuries were minor. Is he single? Her mother asked. Mom, I didn't come here to find a man. He is single, isn't he? Is he good-looking? Mom, stop. I just called to let you know what's happening. I've got to go. Okay, dear, but I want to hear all about him when you get home. Mom, please. He's just a guy who I will probably never see again after tomorrow. Tomorrow? You mean you are staying another night with him? Bye, Mom. I have to go. This audiobook continues on the next video. For more information on this book and others by this author, please visit charleshuss.com.